Good evening. We'd like to open the planning board meeting of Wednesday, September 27th at 7 p.m. Present tonight we have Guy Horn, Vice Chairman, Pam Humphrey, Clerk to the Board, Kevin Sullivan, Member, Mark Marziotti, Chairman, and Don Johnson, Town Planner. So we will move right into the agenda. Item A, approval of meeting minutes, September 13th, 2017. I'm looking for a motion to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from September 13th, 2017 as written.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes of September 13th, 2017, and we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous? I have the minutes here. We'll just sign those real quick. And Don, just as a note, we still have a member that's no longer on the board on the top of the letterhead. We'll, okay. All right. So moving on to item B, and that's an A&R set of plans for Linda Vista Lane, enlarging existing lots. The applicants are Carp, Garvey, Horn, Horseman, and Blackwood.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recuse myself for this item on the agenda as it affects me directly and my neighbors.
Okay.
Thank you.
Please make a note at 7:02 that Guy Horn has recused himself from the board to attend the next event. Okay. Good evening.
Good evening. If I could, Mr. Chairman, I'll just explain the plan that you have in front of you. What you're seeing is an A&R plan for, it's off Linda Vista Lane for basically lots number 1, lot number 3, and lot number 5. Basically what happened, myself and my neighbors purchased parcel A, B, and C, and we're subdividing parcels A, B, and C into appropriate sized lots to match the rear lot lines of the existing lots. So parcel A is going to go with lot number 1. The two lots combined would have a new, would be a single lot with a total square footage of 32,695 square feet. Parcel B would go with lot number 3 and be combined to have a total square foot area of 31,748 square feet. And parcel C will go with lot number 5, and that would have a total parcel size of 42,979 square feet. We are asking for 3 waivers on the form. One of them is the scale of the drawing. The checklist requires a 1 to 40 foot scale. The drawing is kind of large, so the engineer put it at 1 to 30 feet. We're also looking for a waiver on the topography. This land is very flat, and with contours within 2 feet wouldn't even show up on the map because it's so flat. And the last thing that we're looking for as a waiver would be the delineate the access. We're currently going to use everybody's going to use the current access off of Linda Vista Lane, which is currently paved driveways. So there'll be no new accesses provided to get to this land. It'll be through the existing lots. So there's no cross section of the access ways.
Okay.
You're all just adding on to your existing lots, correct? There's nothing going to be
And
other than your
we're
personal
currently in
lanes.
Res 15, so most of the lots were pretty close to 15,000 square feet, just over the minimum lot size. So this basically gives everybody more than double what the current lots are.
Okay. Does the board have any questions?
No.
Yeah? No?
No.
All right. Anyone here wish to speak on the matter? Okay. Don?
No problem.
All right, great. So I am looking to entertain a motion for the 3 lots. And we can make a motion to accept the waivers first, if that's your pleasure, and then move on to the lots.
I'll make a motion that we accept the 3 waivers. Should I list the waivers?
Yeah, you just read, you know, the top information, that it's Linda Vista Dudley, deed date, deed book.
Okay. I make a motion that we accept the 3 waivers for number 1 Linda Vista Lane, 3 Linda Vista Lane, and 5 Linda Vista Lane in Dudley, Massachusetts. Deed date 6/30/17. I have to read each. Are they all different?
Yes.
1 Linda Vista Lane has a deed date of 6/30/17 and 6/15/15.
Mhm.
3 Linda Vista Lane has a deed date of 6/30/17 and 4/29/2013. 5 Linda Vista Lane has a deed date of 6/30/17 and 12/31/2003. 1 Linda Vista Lane, deed book and page 57350-280 and 53852-287. The plan book and page is 758-110 and 877-15. Dudley tax map is numbered 121, parcel number 82, 85, 86, and 87. 3 Linda Vista Lane, Dudley, the deed book and page is 57350-280 and 50805-189. Plan book and page is 758-110, 877-15. Dudley tax map number 121, parcel 82, 85, 86, and 87. 5 Linda Vista Lane in Dudley is the deed book and page 57350-280, 32576-84. Plan book and page 758-110, 877-15. Dudley tax map number 121, parcel 82, 85, 86, and 87.
Okay. We have a motion to accept the waivers.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, and a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, that's unanimous. And I'm going to make a recommendation that if we accept the motion for the A&R lots, that we can reference the aforementioned deed book and page for each of the lots. That would work okay, right? Okay, so looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept this A&R plan for 1 Linda Vista Lane, 3 Linda Vista Lane, and 5 Linda Vista Lane in Dudley.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to accept the A&R plan of 3 lots, 1, 3, and 5 Linda Vista Lane, that had the deed book and page, plan book and date, and Dudley tax map, as mentioned previously during the waiver motion. All those in favor, state aye. Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
You just have to sign one copy.
How many of these you want, Don?
Well, we usually at least file one with the office and one with the town clerk, so it should be 2.
Okay,
How many?
2?
2 copies?
We just sign with a pen?
Yeah. No Mylar?
We're just signing right here, right? And dated, did you say?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got it already.
Just that back copy, Pam.
Hmm?
Just the back copy, the last page.
Well, actually, you sign the applications too of the, for all that paperwork here.
Oh, not these?
Keep it all in place.
You can just sign the originals.
Okay. Hang on, Pam, you don't even need to see that. The original. I need to sign those. These are extras. I don't know if you want these or not.
Two copies, right?
3, should be 3 total.
3.
Yep. How many of these you want? Just one, Don?
It's one.
One of each?
2 of each.
2 of each.
There were 2 of each, I think.
Yeah.
One with the town clerk, one with us.
So there's the 3 of us, 4, 3, and 3. All right, that one's all set.
Yep.
You got 1. Keep the signature on that one. All right, and which one is that? 1,
Yeah. One of them is 3.
5, and 5. You get 2 ones?
Got 3, 3, and that 1.
Yeah, these are,
Those are the 3s.
all right, so the 3s are all set,
Right.
but I'm missing, there's a 1. Missing a 1, front page of 1.
This one. Yep, there it is. Those are the ones.
That's all set. All right, those are done. 5. That's all set. And we just need you on that thing. Hmm? Thank you. That's all set.
And then the bylaws. And this the one.
Only copy of the signatures?
Yeah, this is the unsigned one.
And signing?
Yeah, the 2 signed. Yep. Just the 3rd one.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next item, and that is a request of David Shreddy to release the escrow held on Dudley Hill Estates subdivision, Dave's Way.
After
Good
the-
evening.
After the town acceptance, the only thing we had left to do was to get the deed, get the plan and the deed recorded, and the man.
What's that, the deed?
Deed and the plan, yeah. Recorded, dated.
Is that all recorded, stamped?
Okay,
You own it.
great.
Yeah, so I come tonight to ask, looking for the board to release the funds for the construction of Dave's Way. That's held by the town.
We don't have to pay interest, right?
Of course! And I don't know if we also need to, for the planning board to vote upon releasing the light. I have a passbook for the lighting as well with Mass Electric. I don't know if that's a request from the planning board. I know it did go in front of the town that you will accept the lights, but I don't know if we need a release from you as well.
It's typically the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you'd have to,
So I guess I just looking for my money that you're holding from the
Sure.
construction.
Yeah, there's no issue. We have that information. That's all we needed as far as a board to release the funds. So, Don, I don't know how, was this how we're going to release it here?
It's a voucher.
Okay. So we'll sign this voucher enabling the funds to be released. Yeah, do we need to make a motion for that?
I think so. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we release the escrow balance, or the remaining escrow balance in the Dudley Hills Estate subdivision, Dave's Way, to Mr. Dave Shiretti, in the total amount of $10,338.61.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Here, we have a motion and a second to release the funds being held by the town of Dudley for Dudley Hill Estate subdivision, Dave's Way, to Dave Shreddy. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous?
They're the Shreddy builders, so
Please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Dave, I wanted to, say, I've been on the board for quite a while, and a lot of developers come before us, and we appreciate how you stood by the development. I know that you tried to have the road released 3 times, or that was the 3rd time?
It's probably about the 5th. but,
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sticking with it and, is very much appreciated. It's, anytime you have another opportunity, you want to come before the board, we'll kind of know who you are, and we appreciate that.
Sounds
And
good.
I'm sure the townspeople do as well as the folks in the subdivision. It's a nice spot. Thank
very
you.
much. Have a good night.
Okay. Item D, request of George Slingo to discuss the preparation of as-built and acceptance plans for Tobin's Farm Estates. Welcome, George. So I know that your schedule's been tough. We've had you on the agenda here, but you're a
Sorry
busy
about
man,
that.
so hey, that's all right. That's all right.
What I'd like to do is, seeing that I'm the only remaining person still standing with Valgo, I'd just like to get the thing accepted by the town and, move on.
Mhm.
I have a verbal commitment from Burton Engineering that they will do the as-built plan for the money that was remaining. I have talked to Mr. Johnson, and he said that he'd like a couple grand left in reserve just in case.
I think we can do a combination as-built plan and re-acceptance plan like we did for Dave's Way. Probably look at that too.
Okay.
As long as it meets and bounds description of all the roadways, we'll work on that.
And, George, the meets and bounds, are they in yet, or they're gonna be in?
They are not in yet.
But you physically have them?
I have bought the bounds, all the bounds for the project.
And I just drove up there to take a look at what was left to be done. The only other thing that I could see that driving through there was the wooden, I don't know what to call it,
Guardrail?
wooden guardrail, yeah. I was gonna say fence, but it's not a fence. It's a wooden guardrail where the road crosses over the detention basin.
On Nelly's Way.
Yeah,
I can complete that.
okay.
A couple other things that somebody brought up, I guess there was a requirement that there be some kind of cistern or water holding tank for firefighting. That should be filled.
Did you put that in already?
There's one cistern already in, yes.
It should be filled,
It is filled.
okay, that's all.
It was filled and tested by Chief McDonald.
Okay.
And
And
that
there was
was-
something that somebody told me about the lots along the edge of the pond might have had an access easement. I don't know if you know anything about that.
Sorry, I didn't hear
There
you.
was some lots along the edge of the pond that might have had an access easement to the pond.
That has an easement?
Yeah.
An access easement.
Yes,
Mm.
there is one.
There's like an
Okay.
8 or 10-foot easement for the homeowners to,
8-foot easement.
8-foot easement.
Okay, good.
Is that delineated?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
To my knowledge, it is.
Delineated in the as-built then,
Yeah, it would be included in the as-built.
Mhm. And have you talked to, Don, have you talked to Burton Engineering?
Not about this, but I certainly could.
Okay.
Is,
Waiting for George to.
when you talked to Burton, did they give you any kind of like time schedule? Is this something that they think they could have wrapped up by the end of the year?
I'm hoping so,
Okay.
because
It's
I'm
a
hoping to have it accepted at the spring,
Town meeting?
at the
Yeah, so
spring
you
town
need to
meeting.
have everything done by the, what is it, the 1st of January or the 31st of January?
31st.
31st of January.
Because they told me that I told them that if they marked the bounds where they were going, I would install them and then they would shoot them
Okay.
to try to expedite it and try to save some money.
How many bounds are there?
I believe there's like 55.
Okay,
So it's going to take a little while,
a lot of digging.
especially with the underground electrical and everything else.
Yep.
Postal digger by hand.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Again, I just want to make sure that, I mean, it sounds to me like Don's recommendation is probably a good one. I'm glad that you were able to meet with Burton and that they can accommodate an as-built plan with the funds that are kind of left, and then obviously the other things that we had talked about, so.
And this winter, the plowing and the plowing and the sanding will be still taken care of by yourself for this winter?
Yeah, nobody else is helping, so as far as that, I
Mhm.
shouldn't say nobody. Remco's helped out a lot.
Yeah.
But it's not an issue, it's gonna get done this
No.
year, okay. All right, so then if you can get everything done by the deadline of the 31st, then I don't see why it couldn't be going to town meeting in the spring.
Just make sure that we talk with the consultant and schedule the final inspection in time, before the snow flies, if possible.
Do.
So,
All right.
in touch, and we'll get it done.
Sorry,
Keep in touch, we'll get it done.
okay.
Could you just sign in, George, before you go? Thanks.
Thanks for coming out and give us an update. So Don, if you could, you just, follow up and reiterate the things that we had identified for this subdivision. I know you've worked hard on trying to make sure that, we got an update here. And I just want to make sure that none of these things fall through the cracks.
Well, technically, there are some waivers to do some construction,
Yeah.
sidewalks primarily, but all the board's position is on that, but
I think, given the situation that we're in and where the subdivision's at and how long it's taken to get this far,
there's not a lot of through traffic going very fast over there anyway.
No,
It's
I
all curved
think-
linear roads and what have you.
I think if there was a problem with anything that was already there, we would have known about it or heard about it long before now.
Right.
So, yeah, I would just make up a list of things that are gonna have to be waived,
Okay,
so that we can take a vote before it goes to town meeting.
okay.
I mean, I think it's fair for the homeowners who live there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and kind of what led to that last one, discussion on finishing construction of and acceptance of uncompleted, any unaccepted subdivision streets. I don't know if you have any more updates.
I don't really have
on-
any major updates, but Ted Chinaki was in last week. We was talking about getting hold of Jeff Walsh to do an inspection of the subdivision as it stands, particularly as it relates to that, remember that roadway that a few months ago we approved a waiver for reducing the pavement width?
Mhm.
He's looking to construct that sometime in the near future. Went out there with Jeff yesterday afternoon, and we took a view of it. And from there. So
Okay.
he'll call for inspection and
That-
set up the system with
That roadway that he wants to construct, that was just a short cul-de-sac, right?
short cul-de-sac.
Yeah,
It's-
okay,
I think it's in the range of 400 feet, if I'm not mistaken.
okay.
Okay. Anything
Haven't
else?
heard from Eisenhower Drive yet, but presumably we'll call him shortly.
Any? Okay. We'll stay on that. All right, great. That it?
That's it.
Okay. Moving on to item F, Fall 2017 Town Meeting warrant articles, potential amendments to the zoning bylaws. So, Don, you want to give us a, I know that we covered several of them.
Frontage we already covered. We good with that one?
What's that?
The one with frontage,
Yeah,
definition of frontage, you get one definition rather than two.
And the first one you have in the book this week is the sign standards.
Right. Then I actually met with Nelson one more time, and he suggested a few changes on here, which I put in italics, if you'd like to take a look at this, along with this one.
that's not what's in our book, Don?
This was fresh as of 4
Okay.
to 5.
You have another copy?
Yeah. Not stapled, but
Take this one.
Thank you.
Draft number 4.
So draft number 3 is completely, you don't need to look at that, right?
not completely, but mostly. Not most of it. I only made a few changes. The portions that are in italics. That's per suggestion of the building inspector.
And the majority,
He has to live with it, so.
the majority of this was requested by the building inspector, and you're,
Well, what happened was that he was looking at the signage section for commercial, industrial signage, and it was very confusing. I have to admit, it was very confusing. So I drafted this, we reviewed it a couple times back and forth, and this is what we came up with. So for those districts, other than the residential districts, essentially, we have sign standards for commercial signs, business signs, industrial use signs, and also in that institutional uses, like say a library or something, or a
Mhm.
museum or something of that type.
Okay. So the italics is what changed from 3 to 4? Or the underline?
Yes. Or the italics and the underline, right?
Those are good recommendations.
so all in all, not a lot of changes, just clarification is what you're doing.
Right.
Cleaning it up. Okay. And the next one is,
The other one that we were looking at last meeting was changing the 2-year timeframe for the special permit to the 3-year timeframe, as the statute changed. That's all set. I think we're all set with that one.
And that was a state
Yes.
law, so we
Right.
gotta just follow along.
Right, but it says that you can, technically, it says that you can have less time than that, but we don't think we want to. I mean, it's there for a reason. It's the economy and what have you. The lead time it takes to start a project, to get all your permits in a row, it's an extensive process.
I think it's safe sticking with the state standards.
Yeah.
okay. So no change to that this meeting,
No.
okay? And next one
This
is the frontage.
No change in that one either.
All right, you actually did change one thing the guy was looking to have changed. He had suggested the horizontal distance and horizontal
Added the word horizontal.
be stricken, and.
We've added the word horizontal.
Yeah, you took it out. That's good.
Yeah, yep.
Yep.
All right, that looks good. And then the final one
Which is in the book.
is the overlay, right?
Right.
So you want to give us an update on that, Don?
I think I made the wording a lot better.
Actually, before you get into that, so there was one about commercial vehicles, different weights.
I think we decided not to
We,
go with that.
I
at
have
this point.
hold on my last, but we did decide to do something, right? We were gonna hold so that we could gather more information, or?
We're gonna hold it until the spring, I thought, so we can gather more information, so that we don't make any
Okay.
conflicting,
Right.
statements or requirements.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, that's my biggest fear is that we make a change and then, like I said, people who drive
Yep.
the trailer truck, bring the tractor home and they can't park it in the yard overnight or on the
Same even
weekend.
for an electrician or a plumber, for example.
Right, yeah, or somebody that drives a school bus for the town or for the district.
Yeah, we have to really take a hard look at that one.
Okay. And then the overlay, I've got here that I know Guy was going to revisit it. We had talked about only south-facing properties. We had talked about, what is the type of property that, what is it, APR property?
Right. I've actually got a map that shows all the APR properties.
Okay.
I don't have one that shows all the 61A and 61B properties, but I'm working on it. His recommendation for some better wording, that paragraph we're adding, about the overlay district.
It's just this paragraph here.
Yeah. I've also got a map of every assessor's map in town, every assessor's plat in town. I've got a map of the topography for the town. I've got a zoning map here too, if you want to spread that out for any reason.
So I can give a little update. I was trying to get in touch with Sturbridge and Sutton, and I actually went a little further and actually got in touch with Millbury. I kind of played phone tag with the planner in Sutton, but right now she did call me back, so I owe her a phone call, so I'll talk to her tomorrow or Friday. Didn't get a call back from Sturbridge at all. But I did talk to Millbury and asked the planner there, who was the former planner here at one time, and talked to her, and she said that Millbury does allow large-scale solar voltaic systems in any zone in the town. And I asked her what they did in regards to screening. And she said that their current bylaw states a minimum of 50 feet away from abutters for the structures or the panels themselves. But on numerous occasions, when projects have come forward where they were in close proximity to residential areas, they've upped that to as much as 150 to 200 feet away from the structures, and actually asked the solar companies, the developers, to leave a buffer zone that's not untouched, no trees cut down, nothing disturbed. And she said they haven't had a problem with doing so. She said they've actually had very good luck with them, just asking to put larger buffers in place where any visual spaces of the equipment would be seen to abutters. And she said typically if you have 150 to 200 feet of untouched property, and then they still put up the fence and do shrubbery or bushes or trees, then typically you don't see it unless it's a elevation issue where you're building a solar field in a hole or down in a bowl, something like that, and the people that are abutting it are looking down on it. But she said if it's the other way where the solar field is up on a hill, the people don't see it. And she said in their cases, it's either been the solar fields have been on a hill, or the solar fields have been on flat ground with the abutters, and the distance away from the project has kept the abutters out of sight. So,
I don't suppose she mentioned when you were talking with her how many of these installations they have? Like how many times if that's come up, the buffer zone?
she did, when I was talking to her, she didn't give me a total number of what they have, but she did talk specifically about buffer zones for 3 different projects.
Okay.
So they have,
So
they have
multiple.
at least 3 projects done,
Yeah.
which is about equivalent to what we have in Dudley. So and like I said, I did want to touch base with Sutton and Sturbridge to see what they had. And like I said, the lady from Sutton did call me back. I just missed her call, and I need to return her call.
Okay, so, I don't know, that almost sounded to me like a bylaw change, but is that an overlay district, or is that just their solar?
That's just their solar bylaw. She said why the solar bylaw specifically states 50 feet, a minimum of 50 feet.
Yeah.
Like she said, they've asked in numerous times, and from what I understood in the discussion, it was on 3 separate occasions they asked for 150 to 200 feet, and on all 3 separate occasions, the developers of the solar projects didn't have a problem with the 150 to 200 foot buffers between them and the residences.
If this goes as a special permit, under a special permit, you can probably make an increase to requirements like that if you find it's necessary for the approval of the permit.
Well, I think our current, I don't know what the current one is.
Well, I mean, these are all things that, you know, we can have as part of the overlay district. I mean, these are the things that we were talking about, you know, the attributes that we should make part of this, so that you don't have, you're not revisiting the overlay district every time, you know, a new project comes up.
Yeah.
So, you talked about south-facing, we talked about, you know, APR, we talked about a variety of other things, but, you know, this may be just something, you know, that we add as an attribute to the overlay district, because we're not talking about revisiting the bylaw. I think that, you know, is in place, and
Just adding that
If-
one paragraph.
You know, the current design standards of the bylaw state that the front yard of the project should be 100 feet from the road, and the side yards and rear yards should be a minimum of 50 feet, so we kind of have the same thing
Same as
that Millbury has, but they've
much.
said that they've, on numerous occasions, increased it as much as 200 feet, and it didn't seem to be an issue.
right, but solar farms are not permitted in any zones other than,
Right now, other than the industrial 87 and 130,
right. So that's the huge difference between Millbury and us. And that's super restrictive, but it is, you know, the bylaw, and that's what it is. So getting back to, you know, this overlay district, I think what we need to do, because we're running out of time, is we need to identify what attributes we want to make part of this, so that the overlay district is not revisited every time we get a new applicant. I think that's
I think I
the
have some
most
information you
important
don't
thing.
want to look at here, but you can see where lots are that are likely candidates.
Okay.
Some few things, based on this map, which is a map that the Economic Development Committee is working on, the representation of the open spaces.
so everything that's in light green is
Protected open
is
space.
A&R land right now?
Yes.
Which, from a guess, I'd say we're probably looking at 25% of the town.
Mhm.
Probably. I've got some maps marked up too, on which lots are chapter 61A, so we have that as well.
You don't yet have the land on here that's part of the, like the Dudley Conservation Land Trust land.
Looks like it's in the protected open space. You look on Healy Road,
I think it's in the
That
protected
looks
open
like
space,
that's
but
conservation.
I have the ability to get that too. I just couldn't, I just don't have the capacity to print it out. I just don't have the technology to print it out, but you can get it on the website.
Yeah, but I'm looking at, on 197, they have land, and it's not right down here.
Is that Nolan? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Maybe
this.
Okay, so I thought that was, yeah, along here is, so this isn't up to date.
No. There's probably more land that needs to be put on here. This was just something you put together fairly quick,
This is
right?
a draft.
A
That was
draft, yeah.
Put
So-
together by CMRPC for the
So there's
Economic Development Commission fairly fast.
there's a lot more that could be added.
But this is
Sound work?
existing, right? This is existing.
Right.
But the map itself is just a draft. There could be a lot more land that's not
Well, I think all the APRs are listed here.
just the APR land.
Right.
Okay.
A few from the land trust and.
So that's really all we wanted to identify anyway, right?
Well, there could be more land that you could identify, like if it's conservation land that's not identified, you'd want to put that on there.
Because there's definitely some conservation on West Main Street after the,
I can call up
courthouse.
the website on my
Right, and
cell phone, but it's not.
and then you need to see if they put in the Audubon Society land that's off of,
Dudley Oxford.
Right.
I'm not,
I'm
well,
not
maybe,
sure.
yeah, that's on Pierpont, so that looks like it's there. That's their screen spot up here, that's Audubon Society, I believe.
It's a little bit, lot's a little bit bigger than that, I think. We can look at the lot shape on the map I got from the assessors if you like.
Okay, so there's,
But again, regardless of where it is, if that's the land that we want to protect, all we're looking for is the verbiage to craft this overlay district. And so if it's protected open space or APR land is not part of this, is not permitted in this overlay district. Conservation land is not permitted in this overlay district, And we can either have exclusions or we can have inclusions, whichever list would be smaller, right?
right, but to get this, I think to get this down to a point where we could get something approved for the next town meeting, I think we need to, my opinion, I think we need to start out small and then grow this.
Mhm.
And I mean, I think we could even start it as small as just working in the one corner of the town that we're having the issue with right now.
The thing about that is there aren't really any APRs in that area.
Yeah,
Or
there's nothing there except light industrial and,
61A land or any of that
yeah,
sort of thing. There is a conservation law of some kind. It's owned by Land Trust or the Audubon. I'm not sure which one it is. I can show you on the assessor's map. But
yeah, I think that's further north though. I think it's up here.
yeah. I think it's north of the industrial area where the gravel pit is.
Right.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that if everybody's in agreement with an overlay district, we could start small and then grow it probably for the Springtown meeting. Because I don't know if we could have everything, we don't want to rush into something and
Mhm.
have it,
To redo
So you're
it.
saying you're
Yeah, I think
restricting the,
that's
sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just agreeing with Guy.
Yeah. So you're suggesting that the overlay district is restricted to this specific area until we decide to revisit it?
until we have all the data in for what other lots we would like to include. Maybe we just talk about, this corner of Dudley here where it abuts Oxford and Webster, and, we can call out specific lots that are there
Mhm.
and say that the overlay district is for these two lots, 3 lots, 4 lots, whatever, but just some number of acres right there and have it concentrated there for
Mhm.
now. I mean, they did the exact same thing for the medical device overlay in Charlton. They
Mhm.
called out 3 lots. It was like 80 acres of land, and that's the only place it's applicable in town, until some other medical device company comes to town and says, I'd like to have a medical device distribution center or a factory there. And, I mean,
And
that,
then they revisit it.
yeah, but I mean, that gets the ball rolling, it gets us an article on the warrant, it gets us into town meeting, and it's not too complicated to explain, because I think if we try to explain everything to people at town meeting,
Mhm.
it's new.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, nobody comes to the public hearings, so we're probably gonna have to try to explain this on town meeting floor.
Mhm.
If it gets too complicated, they're just gonna vote it down.
Exactly. I think you're right, Guy.
Okay.
So if everybody's in agreement, I think, in my opinion, I think we should start with this corner and get something in writing, get an article drafted that we can propose. We just talk about, a certain number of lots, a certain number of acres. We're probably talking about 100 acres of land or less here, and work with that.
We pull out the map, we can look, we can take a
Decide
look at
exactly.
the lots.
What is our deadline, Dawn, on getting this?
6th,
Next Friday.
October 6th, week from this Friday.
So we got like 7 days.
I think pretty easily, even by hand, we can designate 4 or 5 lots, whatever it may be. We do that by hand. Big B, but I'm working.
Yeah, I mean, I think
still a
you've got the
senior
base
lot,
here
so-
I think the base is good, so now, I guess probably the only thing we would want to do is just identify, the lots in particular that we're looking to identify this for, and then add that to this verbiage for the warrant, right?
Right.
All right, so, if we're all in agreement with that, we can, direct the planner to, to do that and submit it as a warrant article. I mean, I'm open to suggestions.
That would be my recommendation personally. I think we should go on the keep it simple premise for right now, because,
No.
I mean, people know about overlays because we have the mill overlay district,
Mhm.
but they may not know exactly how it works, and when you start talking about changing something for the whole town, they could get a little bit nervous.
Mhm.
I think we should keep it simple for that corner, and then, once people get used to it, if everybody's all right with it, and we get back all the data from all the lots that would not be included, we can put together some statistics, so we can go to, I believe right now, I did some rough statistics, I think right now we have approximately 8% of the land in Dudley is available for solar farms. And, I think if we went back and told them we want to make 40% available, they might be all right with that, but right now, if we tell them we're just putting an overlay district in for the whole town,
Yeah.
they're gonna be upset.
Other considerations too about land adjacent to open space or open space land itself, you don't want to necessarily develop.
Right.
Plus we have to cut down
I mean, there's,
acres and acres of trees, or,
right,
there's a lot of other things to look forward to.
I mean, that's all criteria that we could add to the overlay district at a later date, that,
Mhm.
No more than half of the property could be clear cut or something like that, to reduce the number of trees, so that way there, they'd be looking for open space fields versus forest to
Mhm.
build on.
Okay.
Things like that, but for right now, I think we should just keep it simple, talk about this little corner, and see where it goes. I mean, hopefully it passes.
You have clear direction on that, Don? Because
Yes.
essentially it will be,
Could we pull out the map and sort of
Laid out now.
get some idea which areas we're looking at?
Yeah.
you do that.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about, but let's all be on the same page.
I agree with that. I'm interested in seeing to the corner.
Should we go?
Tom, you have any comments based on our conversations? Yep.
Hi, Tom O'Connor. I just had a question on
In the
the
middle.
verbiage on the south-facing. What does that mean if you're on a hill? I mean, everything's south-fa, what exactly does that mean by south-facing?
Well, if it,
Well, it's preferable to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Understood, but I mean, all lots, I mean, a lot has a northeast, south, and a west facing, so what?
Slope toward the south so that they would be solar collectors.
And if you're on the top of a hill, you would have,
If you're facing north and going down a hill, then you wouldn't be collecting the
Right.
direct sunlight.
but
That's
wouldn't that be more up to the, I mean, the lot we're talking about faces, the road is east, but the whole lot is, northeast, south, and west.
he-
Yeah.
I
he-
just want to make sure there's not something,
Don was
I
talking
wouldn't- I
about,
wouldn't go that far.
Don was talking about creating a criteria that if you had only a north-facing slope, that that land would not be,
exposure.
included in
Okay.
land that could be potentially used for a solar farm.
Yeah, what we're talking about right now doesn't even include that language. Later it may, so that you can, say, well, no one would want to put, a photovoltaic system there because it's not south-facing, so we'll just eliminate that.
It wouldn't make sense, nobody would do it anyways, right, obviously.
Yeah, right.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Something else we're revisiting later,
Yeah.
as long as
Yeah,
we
it's just so
do
that-
clear this up later.
You know, what we want to try to do is narrow down, you know, just to make it easy, not because we want to be too restrictive, but nobody is going to want to, you know, if there's a slope or a decline that's facing the north,
Yeah, yeah.
it would never be used for solar, and if it was, whoever's making that investment would need to have their head examined, I guess, but.
It's just that I think we need to, we can put a lot of criteria in it at a later date, but I think we start simple and look at
Yeah.
the criteria we can add at a later date.
Makes sense.
As long as we can get to it at the later date.
Looking at the corner of my,
So,
Come over, Pam?
We're looking at this corner right here,
Yeah.
Oxford Ave, right?
Oxford Ave.
Correct.
Yeah.
It was easy to go with lot lines because that way you can find it on the ground.
So these are the current lot lines? And is this the parcel that is, Let's fall, okay. And these are the other parcels that are around it. So we could go, you know, basically look at these parcels here.
Is this the quarry?
I think so, part of it is. Maybe this is too, but we wouldn't include, obviously include the cemetery. So that would be, so it would be just the land on the, what's that, westward side of Oxford Avenue.
This lot. Just to that one, to the left. To the left.
This one.
I believe that's a conservation lot. It's either land trust or,
This one's conservation up here.
And that's
I think
Audubon, I
think
think.
that one is too, though.
This one too?
That's basically what it is.
Okay.
I think that the quarry, the gravel pit is on
This one here? This one?
that one.
is right on the road, right?
Well, it's that
It's
new
those
part
two.
is right here, so it's these.
That one,
These two?
those two, and plus, I think that there's a few, the middle one, the one in the middle,
Yeah.
used for future excavation. And also, I think, I'm not positive, but I think that the one with the power lines going through, where it's sketched over there.
Yep.
I think that's part of it too.
I think what we need to do is, if we can just identify these right here, down to, let's say, down to Day Road, up to the north to the Oxford line. We're talking about the west side of Oxford Ave, and out to where this stream or brook is. Just get those lots there identified as to who's the ownership. If this is already conservation land, then that's out, but these other ones, we should just look at those right
You
there.
want to look at all of them, or you just want to look at the big ones?
Well,
We're looking at 4 acres here.
so these are obviously house lots along the
Mhm.
road, so we're not gonna look at the house lots, but the ones that are in the back that are larger than 4 acres, those should be identified.
That one is residential too. See, right?
This one here?
Wanna
Well,
include that?
they're all residential right now.
No, actually, some ones that the gravel operation are.
Right,
Like
but
industrial.
the zoning right there now is residential. So, but if
That one,
this lot is larger than 4 acres, it could be included. It could be included if there's if there's a house built along the road, if they got more than 4 acres in the back.
Want to put it on there? That's
Yeah.
fine, sure.
Yeah.
Seems like we include them all, we got a good spread of lot types.
Yeah. And it's not too big, so if we can figure out how many acres this comes out to, if it's like 100 acres or 80 acres or whatever it comes out to, but not the individual house lots.
The entire lots except the house lots.
Right. That's what we're basically talking about, is right there, that little corner.
Sound good, Don? So we need to craft a timeline because we have a week and 2 days, right?
We're working on this chapter 51A situation with CMRPC too, hopefully. We can meet tomorrow night. And that's where they're located too, so just, I think I can work with them to get a map.
Right.
If not, I can do it by hand.
Okay. And then, So maybe by the end of the week, you'll have those lots identified. Maybe by beginning of next week, we can have the warrant article updated and get it to us, so we can just have a quick look.
Because you need to hand it in by Friday, the 6th, and we're not going to have another meeting before that.
I think this, the only thing I need for the warrant article is the map. I think the wording's pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah.
What do you think? Satisfied with the wording?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I think it's good, yeah.
I'll tell you that it was my first draft.
And then it would just have an addendum with this map for the overall elevation.
Yeah, so is this going to get its own, this will get its own number in the book as a different section, and it will just refer back to,
No, I wasn't going to, actually, I was just gonna add it on to that paragraph, it's already there.
okay. So
I should
it's,
be having that version of the book, I can show you what it looks like now, but,
What, it would be under what? Solar, the solar bylaw?
yes.
so it's an addendum to the solar bylaw.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
Fine.
not a separate section, though,
not a separate section.
but if you want to.
No, that's fine. We can move it later when we add more to it if we want to.
Well, we can just keep it there and make it easy for everybody that's looking for solar.
That's fine. We can decide that later, but at this point, it relates specifically to solar, so it makes sense to leave it there.
All right,
Okay.
so we have an area identified.
Good one, Don. This is another map?
Just right towards the eardrums.
Edge on the ground.
Zoning districts.
Sorry, Fred.
What's this?
Yeah, that's the zoning map, so it's
Oh, okay.
part of the land that we're talking about is light industrial, part of it's,
There's
there's
rest.
another little piece of light industrial up here, and then the rest of it's
This
real
is
estate.
really the area.
Right.
Yeah.
But we told them to take this whole little corner here, so there's some, but that's the cemetery over here, so that's
Yeah.
light industrial too, so we're not including that. So it's just gonna be this pink, part of this pink
Yeah,
and the green.
to the river here.
Right. And maybe a little bit of this res 87 over there.
I didn't print out the whole section of the bylaw, but I print, for everybody, I printed one copy, so this is where the paragraph would go.
Yep. Oh, you're proposing to put it in here? Under 3.12.02?
Look at the way. Actually, references the districts where it's allowed, just where it's prohibited. Just add it as a district, with all the special permits.
And we put in the specific map and lot number.
Couldn't do that, but I could word it so that it refers to a map that could be sort of file.
Okay.
That way we don't have to reword it.
Well, it
every
has
time.
to reference that.
That way we don't have to reword it every time.
Yeah, I like that idea. Keep it referenced into the map, and then that way there, if we want to expand it later on, we just change the map. We don't have to go back and change the book.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
All right, Don.
Also, we'll update the zoning map every time. You don't have to-
So this is where
So this-
we would plug this in to the current bylaw. And we would
All
have,
right.
we have a specific map.
I think
I
this
think
is
what
the
we,
way to go.
I think we know what we need to do, Don. I know what I need you to do.
What do you need to do?
Okay.
All right. So I think we beat that to death.
But we're all in agreement, so that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
I think this gives us more time to hash out
The
all the
details.
details,
Yeah.
yeah, rather than rushing into it.
Yep.
Right.
As you said, confusing people so they vote it down.
Right, and I think it'll be simple enough when the people look at the map and say, we're only talking about this little corner of town.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
All right.
keep it simple.
Yep.
I know Don wants to stay here all night, but I don't.
It's the next on the agenda.
Yep, so let's
So
see.
we'll submit those 4 articles as we discussed. Time before the end of next week.
Yep.
The hearing will have to be on the 20... Check my phone for the calendar, I guess.
You have to have We have to have 2 consecutive newspaper postings.
Right. We have time.
Okay, so the timeline that we talked about was, by the end of the week, gather the maps, make sure we get the colors right on the map. And then, beginning of next week, finish the drafting of the warrant. You'll send it to us. And then, we'll all confirm that it looks good, and you'll submit on Friday. Are you here Friday?
Thursday.
All right, you'll submit it on Thursday.
One way or another, I'll get it done with a deadline.
Okay.
I have to come in and I'll get it done.
So, Mr. Chairman, one thing I would just mention is that, the map doesn't necessarily have to be color, because if we have to reprint this and put it into our zoning
It's a good idea
bylaws-
not to put it in color, actually.
Right, so just put, that's why I would say
Listed.
call it out by, map number and lot number.
Yeah, I guess I was just using that phrase to, so he showed us all these
I can
different.
do it with
You know,
Highlight it.
marking it crosses,
Yeah.
cross hatches or something.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah, highlight it or something that doesn't have to be in color, because that would cost us a lot of money to print the books in color.
yep. Okay. Sounds good. Any more discussion on the town meeting warrant articles? Okay. Moving on to
Hearing-
G.
Hearing date before we leave that, though?
Set?
The hearing date before we leave that.
Yeah, what is it?
October, town meeting's the 30th, so it'll be October 25th. At 7:15 here.
Okay, so that would be the night that we have the public hearing
Public hearing,
and vote on,
report to town meeting after that.
endorsing the articles.
Yeah, and then report to town meeting after that.
If we vote on endorsing the articles on the 25th, we don't have to have a meeting before the town meeting.
Right.
That would be desirable. And then town meeting is October 30th, right?
That's correct.
Is that a Monday night?
It is.
Is everyone available for that?
What time is that at?
7?
I should be able to make it, yeah.
So, we should probably still post a meeting for that night, but it just will, because we'll all be together at the town meeting. More than 3 of us show up,
It's
there's,
actually posted the next day anyway, so
okay,
we'll know
there's a quorum, so,
one way or another.
right.
Is the 20, I would have to post it on the Thursday, the 25th. October.
Would be the
They
26th,
say 24th, it'll be October 25th at 7:15 here.
Yeah, that's what you said.
25th. And you could post,
Following day, I can post a meeting for Monday, because it's 48 hours.
okay, that's good. 26, post.
Okay. Sounds good. Next item, G, discussion on the status of economic development planning. I don't think we really have much to discuss, or do we?
Moving right along.
Huh? Moving right along.
See that this map has been prepared for a brochure that the Economic Development Committee is doing. The color map I gave you, it's almost there. And there's a meeting on the
So the 18th?
18th, I believe it
Yeah,
is,
October 18th.
which would be more of a public meeting where they'll be looking for input, probably be a SWOT analysis done that night, and presentation of information gathered to date. And we'll see what comes out of it. That's what's scheduled for that night, and I think the EDC would like the planning board members to attend that night as well,
And that's when?
October 18th.
October 18th.
Is that at 7 PM also?
Yes,
What day of the week is that?
Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Will you confirm that, or is this a confirmation that it's gonna happen?
It's gonna happen.
Okay.
Also, there's a survey out there it's being worked on, and the Economic Development Committee is gonna post that on the website sometime next week.
Okay. All right, good. Very good. Moving on, planner's plate.
That was some of it. I'm reviewing these maps and whatnot, and hope to get everything that we need for that meeting, and hopefully I can get a little bit more assistance on the map that I'm working on for the zoning article. If not, I can do it by hand.
Mhm.
But we'll get that done by the end of next week.
Okay.
Get that done. Just go to the economic development activities. I'll be helping with that too, to some degree. As far as what's happened this past week, yesterday I viewed all the solar sites that have been under construction, except for the one in West Dudley, but the other two, the high school and Farley Road. Reviewed them with Jeff Walsh from Graves Engineering. He was pretty satisfied with everything,
You reviewed them physically?
physically. Viewed them, let's put it that way.
Good.
Also, the building inspector was there too, and I guess he's satisfied with everything. They'll probably be receiving their final sign-off shortly.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff will be submitting us a report as well.
What's
Very good.
going on, if you don't mind me asking, just what's going on with the West Dudley Road Solar Farm? Is there anything going on? I mean, it's moving along?
I tell you, I haven't been there for a while, but I understood that they were having an erosion situation that's being taken care of.
This was the one that, the owner gave a large tract of land to the town for conservation land after the project was approved?
Was it that one? I'm not sure. I don't know, that's,
It's the only one that's not constructed, right?
it was under construction.
It was under
I haven't
construction.
been there for a while. I don't, they'd done the clearing and whatnot
It's
the
up
last
on
time
a-
I was there.
It's way up on a hill.
Yeah, it's all on a steep hill.
Okay, that's the one.
You gave land,
You gave land to the town.
landlocked land.
No, I think it has frontage on the Fish Road or something like that.
Okay.
Anything else?
Anything upcoming? I just wanted to bring it to your attention that because of the holidays in November, we scheduled the 3rd and the 5th Wednesday instead of the 2nd and the 4th. Wednesday, the night before Thanksgiving. Nobody wants to meet that night. What?
That's it.
The
This-
Economic Development Committee is actually slated to meet in this 7-room on the 3rd, so maybe we can switch that back to the 2nd Wednesday? 2nd and the 5th Wednesday of that month?
So, we're supposed to meet the 8th and the 22nd, normally? Right?
Right.
And you're saying that you're proposing that we meet the 1st and the 15th?
No, not the 15th, actually. Let me get back to that.
You're talking about November, right?
November, we normally meet, right, the 8th and the 22nd.
Right.
The 22nd is the night before Thanksgiving, so nobody wants to meet that night. So that's postponed, instead of the 4th, that's postponed to the 5th. We scheduled it that way, we posted it that way. Well, we posted originally the 15th, but the Economic Development Committee is scheduled to meet here that same night, so maybe we want to switch that back to the 8th.
This would be the 8th and the 29th.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, what we normally do in November, because we run into this situation, is that we actually look at how deep the agenda is and whether we actually need 2 meetings in November or not.
Same thing with December.
Yeah,
There'll be a 3-week separation if we,
Yeah, but if there's nothing on the agenda, we could cancel the meeting.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But I think we ought
So
to
my
be,
re-
give
yeah,
me on
my-
the 8th rather than the 15th.
yeah. No, I appreciate you thinking forward, but my recommendation would be we leave it at the 8th and the 22nd, and we have a look at how heavy the agenda is, what's on it, and then we can make a determination.
We already posted the 29th, though.
We posted the 29th for what reason?
We don't want to meet the night before Thanksgiving. I could do it, but I don't think we have much of a crowd.
Yeah.
Fred doesn't like that.
Fred would rather it be on the 23rd, Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
This is no football on that day.
I don't care, it's up to the board, doesn't matter.
Switch it back to the 8th.
I just don't think that,
I mean,
We'll just play it
even
by
if it's
ear.
already changed, we can leave it and then revisit still later, right?
You can always cancel one of them.
Yeah,
there's
because
no
if it's still
business.
not busy, we can always just cancel it.
so it's
Think-
scheduled now, you're saying for the 8th and the 29th?
It's scheduled for the 15th and 29th.
Oh.
So I recommend moving the 15th to the 8th.
And that's because the economic development has
They
a
meet
meeting?
here, same time, same place.
All right.
So you want the 8th and the 29th?
Right.
That's fine, let's go with the 8th and the 29th, and then we'll determine whether we need to have one on the 29th.
We could have a blizzard.
We could.
And the 8th,
This rate.
No.
the weather's been late.
At least 2 days off, 2 days off a winter for what snow, yeah.
All right, sounds good. Very good. Any, so comments from the planning board, I have one. Apparently our applicant did not show up. Or our interested party, right?
In the board.
Weren't they supposed to come here tonight?
What does the letter say about purpose?
Interested party?
Yeah.
Apparently not.
But didn't he say that he was planning to come here
He did.
tonight?
But you have a letter from him, though.
Okay, so I'll read
I'm
the
not sure if
letter.
there's a conflict now, because I was on the Finance and Advisory Committee.
So we have to find out if he can serve on both boards?
Yeah, because neither one of them is a paid position, I don't think there's a conflict.
I don't think so either, because so say, for example, if a Board of Selectmen member were going to try to sit on the ZBA, they couldn't do that because they're the appointing authority. But this is an elected position technically, even though there's an appointment for it. It's an elected position. It's not appointed
Right.
under normal circumstances unless.
You can hold two elected positions. The only thing is, if they're both paid, you can only collect the salary from the highest paid one. You can't get both salaries.
It's definitely the planning board.
Yeah, we're the highest paid board.
Yeah.
So then there shouldn't be a conflict, right?
I don't think so, but we'll check into it
Yeah.
and get back to him.
Yeah.
So,
Well, if you guys want me to read this, I will, or
we'll be
we
waiting
can hear
from
from
the
you.
selectmen too when they vote to do the appointment.
I think if,
They met this past Monday, so I have to assume that'll be the week after next.
I think if you just say that we have an interested party, you can,
Yeah.
you can.
Mhm.
Read
I
what
will
you-
say, at the end, he says, he can provide resume, list of references and such. I don't think we need that, do we?
No, I would say from his,
Mm.
I didn't have one.
I went through his letter, and I think if he's willing,
He
he
seems
has,
very
he
Yeah.
has the
confident.
right qualifications, so.
Exactly.
He's eager to.
Seems very confident.
Okay, so I don't know if the selectmen got this. I just got it later this afternoon, but I think we can certainly forward it on to
Can you
the
forward a
selectmen.
copy of it to the selectman's office?
Absolutely.
That would be great.
Okay, so I think we basically said that we have a party interested in the planning board, the open planning board seat, which is great news. A couple things that we need to vet, and we'll get it to the selectmen, who, they may already be aware, as in his letter, he indicates that he was at the selectmen's meeting. So, current member of the FAA committee as well. So, certainly qualified, and it's great to always see someone giving back to the town by coming out like we do and participating. So, thank you.
Don, do you know, statute, does the vote for this gentleman to appoint him for the position for the rest of the term, does that have to be a joint, does it have to be done at a joint meeting of the
Yes.
planning board and the,
Yes.
okay, so maybe,
Town council advised us too that it has to be one
As
of
it,
both boards.
we did for you.
okay, so we should go to, either we should go to a Board of Selectmen meeting, get on the agenda for a Board of Selectmen meeting, or ask the Board of Selectmen if they could make a planning board meeting.
Well, I'll try to schedule it for the next meeting of the Board of Selectmen, which I think would be the 9th.
Yeah, tell them they get paid more than us, they should come see us.
That's right. Okay, we can do that.
Then we'll definitely be going there.
Do they get $1?
Oh, no, they get a lot more than $1.
Do they? It's up to you. I can ask, but
Yeah,
Yeah, just give them the option when
Okay.
you forward it.
because it would
we
be,
could go to theirs on the 9th, or they can come to ours on the 11th.
it would be great to take care of this before the end of November,
You gotta take care of this before the hearing, too.
before the hearing.
Yeah,
Oh,
with
that's
the
even,
input of
that's even sooner,
the board
okay.
member.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
So look, our next meeting's on the 11th. So
Yeah.
I think the Board of Selectmen will probably be the 9th.
all right, either way, let us know if we need to go there, if
Yeah.
they're coming here.
Okay. Any other comments from the planning board?
I just have one, are we still supposed to just sit tight about the,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna ask too.
Yes.
Are we getting close to the 20-day?
I believe it's the
Then-
31st.
I was gonna say, it's getting pretty close.
We shouldn't be talking about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Comments from the audience? Peace. All right. At least we have an audience tonight. Okay, entertaining a motion to adjourn if there's nothing else.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion
I'll second the motion.
and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Good night.